that's great too. We want to use that kind of investment toward the cost of a four-year degree. That's what we need to do here in Michigan. And then finally, I'll just close by saying that, you know, I introduced an infrastructure plan this week, and it's salty, I tell you. It's called Fix the Damn Road. But that's the language I hear everywhere I go. So I apologize if you're uncomfortable with my salty. I'm known for even more colorful, but not. That's what people say all the time. You know, we are spending in Michigan, the average driver in Michigan spends $540 a year to fix your car instead of fixing our roads, and it is time for that to change. Our infrastructure, we're going to create and fund an infrastructure bank, and it's going to be used to rebuild our roads and bridges, the water infrastructure underneath the ground, and connect communities to high-speed broadband. So I'm just going to, we'll open it up for Q&A, but I just want to tell you why I chose the Mighty Mac as the symbol of my campaign, okay? First and foremost, because I love the Mackinac Bridge. I think it's beautiful. I love traveling our state. I have just enjoyed it immensely as a candidate, enjoying traveling the state. Working 15-hour days, and every day there's someone or something that happens that reminds me what this is all about. But I chose the Mackinac Bridge. For the first iteration of the logo had the bridge, it had, you know, had the two peninsulas, and had a lot going on. And someone said, it looks like a beer logo. Well, I like beer, I'm okay with that. But we decided to just highlight the bridge, and here's why. 60 years ago, this past fall, the Mackinac Bridge opened to traffic. It was built at a time when we had a Democratic governor and a Republican legislature. No one thought a suspension bridge 5 miles long, spanning the Straits of Mackinac, was feasible, was even a possibility. But our leaders worked together, and they harnessed the brains and the grit and the raw materials here in Michigan, and erected the Mighty Mac. It connected our people, and it moved our economy forward. I think right now, when we got leaders who want to focus on our divisions and demonize people and build walls, I think it's time we get back to building bridges. So that's why I chose this. All right, let the mayhem begin. This is your time to talk. Yes?
Yeah, I applaud you so much for the Medicaid expansion. Now Snyder's got a backdoor approach to undermining that by trying to introduce work requirements for Medicaid, and it's built on false premises and thoughts that people aren't working and are just sitting around so they can get Medicaid. I was wondering, well, you know my thoughts, but I was wondering.
Hey, if I was governor right now, I would veto that sucker, and I'd tell them right from the front, don't even waste your time on it, because you won't see the light of day for me. I totally agree with you. It is based on junk science and on the worst kind of presumptions and attitudes, and I think that it just contributes to what is already a really divisive culture in Lansing right now, and it doesn't save a dime, and it further demoralizes a part of our population that desperately needs support.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I answered everything that could be on all of
Where's the capital from the infrastructure bank?
Okay, so how do we pay for the infrastructure bank? Well, our infrastructure problem is so big that when the legislature and the governor put $200 million in, it only tinkers around the edges. We've got to get $3 billion to work immediately in Michigan. I am going to write a budget that has $2 million put right into the infrastructure bank.
Billion.
$2 billion.
Right,
when we do that, we pull in another $1 billion from the federal government. This is the smartest way to get more dollars matched so that we are able to throw shovels in the ground.
Okay,
It also
is there a program to do that?
Oh, yeah.
If you put $2 billion, they'll put it in
Yes,
that? Okay.
yes, and I've worked with a lot of different experts around infrastructure and finance and treasury to make sure that this is a real plan that capitalizes and leverages every dollar that we can get. So I I will write that budget. It will have the $2 billion in it. It will be a combination of things. Can I tell you exactly every piece that'll be in it this minute? No, because the economy's gonna change, and hopefully I'm gonna have a lot more Democrats in the legislature. Which will change exactly how I go about doing it. But I have taken tough votes to fund our roads. And our governor, who doesn't have the spine to have his own Republican House put it on the board for vote, it failed. But I've taken those votes. I know how to do that. And if I can't get the legislature of 2019 to do their work, then we will go straight to the people and pass a bond to fund our roads.
Good.
Great.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, Gretchen, thank you for coming. I'm Karen Goodman, and I'm county commissioner here, and I'm here with a other county commissioner.
One of the few bright spots of 2016, right?
For Manistee County, everything that you said, you know, we do need infrastructure, we know that we need economic growth. For Manistee County, we are in the midst of starting up our budgetary process. And my personal fears and concerns are, you know, we're pretty flat. You know, we've been living off kind of the same amount of money for the last maybe several years with little to no growth. But now we have an opiate epidemic that is hitting our area, in which people are dying. Manistee County is now leading. I work for a mental health agency, and statistically, we are ahead of Benzie County with the amount of opiate deaths and overdose that are occurring in our community, which a lot of people probably don't even know about. Yeah. And so, I'm worried because our jails are getting filled up, and I don't have enough jail officers. Our road patrol is overtaxed. We're lucky to have our tribe and our city police and our county all working collectively. We have a great partnership here in this community. It's kind of unique. So those are okay, but our medical examiner, you know, our costs are just outrageous. We did sign the with Bernstein and Johnson.
Yep,
to the
lawsuit.
Independent lawsuit, yes. But, you know, we're concerned. What do we do? How do we address this? Why those costs keep going up? We're fearful of, we don't have the money to deal with this. And in mental health, and on my other hat, as a mental health worker, what do we do? I mean, we're trying to pull programs as fast as possible, but there's so many limitations, and there's nothing out there that's addressing it in our communities.
Right. So, I mean, the opioid crisis it's real, and it's in every county in the state of Michigan. And Michigan is in worse position than a lot of other states are, because we have not been on the front end of trying to keep people from getting addicted in the first place. You know, addiction is a disease. It's not a moral feeling, and we don't give people the proper support that they need once they do get addicted. But on the front end, there are some real kind of known general best practices that are happening in other states. To show you I'm not being partisan, you know, Chris Christie's New Jersey is a leader on the front end policy for opioid prevention, abuse prevention. And so is Mike Pence's Indiana. Right? I'm complimenting Mike Pence's Indiana, but they are, because they created databases and require that the databases are checked before prescriptions are written, that they've got access to this and training, and it's a requirement. But once people do get addicted, we've got to make sure that we've got the ability for them to manage and their disease and come off of it. And that's what we're failing to do. When John Engler left office, he closed all of the mental health clinics, and he shut off access for public health options. And there's many times, more often than not, a mental health component that is intertwined with addiction. And so one of the things that I always supported when I was in the legislature was mental health parity. We had an opportunity to embrace mental health parity when the autism bills were passed, and while I was glad to support the autism bills, and I was really hoping that we would take that opportunity to ensure that we got health care coverage for mental health crises, and that's something that I absolutely support. And I think we've got to create a real addiction strategy in Michigan and treatment plan. I've got a 6-step opioid abuse plan on my website. that I rolled out maybe 8 months ago. That's how early I wanted to make sure that people know I get that it's a problem, and I understand what it means for your costs, but also what it means for all those lives that are being ruined. We lose, I think, 3 people every single day. 3 people every single day.
We had a symposium here a couple days ago, and one of the statistics for 2016, I did a presentation. There were 11 million prescriptions filled. There are 10 million people
Yep.
in Michigan.
Yep.
So that just tells you how it
Yeah. So I would really like your feedback on the plan that I put together, and if there are ways that I can make it better, I'd love to know. When I was at the county prosecutor in Anne County, one of the first things I did was ride along with the Lansing Police Department, and Lansing is a very high per capita crime for a city its size. There's a lot of crime in the city of Lansing, and
Even outside the legislature, right?
right, yeah, you had the legislature and woo, much higher. But anyway, I did this ride along, and one of the people that we ended up arresting was a man who was an Iraq War veteran, Purple Heart. Had a domestic situation, and the wife called and said he's out there and he's got weapons in his car. And we found him very quickly. I was so impressed with the police. He had an AK-47, an AR-15, many knives and handguns and nunchucks. And the thing that was arrest-worthy as soon as they saw it was the brass knuckles. That was one thing that was per se illegal, so they knew as soon as they saw it, they could confiscate everything, which says a lot, right? But the question was, this man's he's in crisis, in PTSD, he's in crisis, and there was no good option for him. Because if we took him to the jail, he's not gonna get the treatment that he needs. If we take him to the emergency room, that could be endangering others in the emergency room. There was no real place dedicated to mental health. And so I think that this is a crisis, and I recognize Michigan is one of the worst states in dealing with it, and we're gonna change that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to do that.
They're filming me, that's why he told me to put my cup down. He doesn't always order me around. Yeah.
A candidate from another party is talking about rolling back the Granholm tax increase.
Is he running against Jennifer Granholm or something?
I mean, that's crazy. We have a president that's still running against Hillary.
That's true.
What is your response?
Well, first of all, there's so many things wrong with that, right? The most basic is the fast. The tax rollback was stopped by Governor Snyder and the Republicans. So let's just start there. We'll continue with the fact that he talks about Jennifer Granholm more than anybody else. Well, that's pretty transparent, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to be the attack. The interesting thing is that he's got an ad attacking Hallie for being so much like Jennifer Granholm. Have you seen that ad? Go to YouTube. It's real. He says Hallie equals Granholm. So, I think it's very desperate, frankly. I think he's going to have a very hard time selling that, but I understand the strategy, because in Bill Schuette's mind, that tough 8 years that Granholm was governor, he's going to use that against me. That's the ultimate plan, And the Republican Party has already got a video that morphs me into her and then back to me with scary music, But I mean, we knew this was coming. But here's the thing, all right? I can't wait to run against Bill Schuette. I really can't. Schuette is bad on so many policies, and so he's going to try to play these games so that he doesn't get held accountable for the policies that he has supported, the things that he has done, the lives he has ruined during his time as Attorney General. For 8 years, he's been Attorney General. What's happened in Michigan? He took marriage equality to the Supreme Court and fortunately got his butt handed to him at the Supreme Court. He